So one thing I'm trying to play around with as I'm waiting for some viewers here is how the backdrop looks. So this display is huge for you guys. So I'm trying to get it so that my page fits well in here. And I think that that's going to center it. So let's see here. Yes, so now when you see things, I hope that we're going to be able to see everything on my screen now. So I'm going to play this for just a moment to make sure that all of this looks, and then I can come over here to live stream since it's on a bit of a delay. And I'm going to see how that works. There we go. So now it shows the whole page pretty well, and I'm in the lower corner. So what I'd like to do is, it's 10:31. This is the overview for tips. And yeah, I got some people joining me. Excellent. Hello. I'm glad you're here. If you want to kind of say hi in the chat, they're there. I won't be able to watch what you write in the chat is while I'm going over the course. I won't see it, but what I'm going to do is I'll talk about some tips I have for you, and then I'll come back and look at the chat box and see if I can answer questions. If you're wondering why YouTube Live instead of Zoom, I've heard all of these scary stories of people dropping in Zoom meetings and showing different parts of their body to people, so I kind of wanted to avoid that. So we're going to try this and see how it goes. I do have to tell you that I am I'm Generation X, so I'm not even a millennial. We started to have computers in my school when I was 17, so I'm pretty proud of myself of all that I can do, but I realize that it's nothing in comparison to what you do. So if I ever do something and you're like, man, why doesn't she know this? If you tell me, I'm always willing to learn. And that kind of brings me to a little bit of just advice on how you approach math problems. I may do it one way, your textbook may do it another way, and you may have an idea for a third, and I'm really open to that. All right, I don't think that in any way I have the only knowledge on how to do things. I really do learn from my students every year, and I hope that if you see something that I don't see, that you'll be willing to kind of share it with me and share it with your class. And to make this class more interactive, I really hope we can use Flipgrid, and I'll put up a prompt each Friday. You'll get to share, not every Friday. If we have a test that week, I won't do it. But if I'll ask a question, you'll share a little bit of your notebook and your insights, and then we can all learn from each other. One thing that would really, really help me, just because at the beginning of the year, it's so hard to get to know students in the online world. On your course page, there's a place where you can load a picture. And Robert, I can see Robert, and I'll start to associate Robert's face with his name, and I'll remember. But Johnny, you got a brick wall here. So if you could put your picture there, then I'll start to learn you better like we were in a classroom. It would be really, really helpful to me. And I also hope that you'll reach out to each other. This is the first year I've done the interviews, so you'll see in your first week. There's a place for you to interview one of your classmates. So after you watch their videos, try to make a connection with somebody. You can just leave a comment on their video with an email or team and set up a time where you can speak to each other. And I kind of hope that some QSI students are now back in their schools, but lots of QSI students are still stuck at home. And some days you just need to talk to somebody to get out of your funk. You don't feel like doing anything, and you really don't want to feel like that. And having a conversation with somebody is sometimes the best way to not feel like that. The lingo in the education world is Maslow before Bloom. So Maslow is a man who came up with this hierarchy of needs, and he said if your basic needs are met first, so first is the ability to breathe. If that is met, then you'll be looking for food, and if you have food in your tummy, you'll be looking for security. And if you have that, then you'll be looking for social connections, and if you have social connections, then you'll be ready to learn and work towards being, he called it, your self-actualized self. So, and then Bloom is a guy who said all these different things about learning. So we say that you have to have your basic needs met before you can really worry about learning. So I hope that we can help each other a little bit with that. Moving on here, a little bit more on the schedule. I know I've talked about it in a couple places, but just to be really clear, you have a week's worth of work every week. Some people have block schedules. Some people get to do whenever they want, whenever they want. Some people have to be in class during the day and have a scheduled time. You will be the most successful if you schedule your time. So you can use my schedule, which is right here. You can create your own schedule, but the real goal is that this stuff here on Friday is done on Friday. And if it's not done on Friday, then use Saturday or Sunday, but keep up. I won't look on a daily basis, but I do look on a weekly basis. So on a weekly basis, I look and see who's up to date. I hope the badge kind of is a motivator, and also that you guys can help each other a little bit with that. On your textbook, I've written with you a couple of you. When you go to the link here, I put the link for your textbook on the top. All right, and I really, really do hope that I will get you username and logins. For right now, even if you try to register, you don't have a code, an access code. So I'm working with the textbook company to get you access codes. But for right now, you can't do anything. Ask at school for a physical textbook. Next thing on my list, you should, when you do something, I'm looking for a first assignment here. These little arrows, these are assignments. So when you do an assignment, so this is IXL, so you're going to use the external IXL page. A lot of these, I let you pick which skills. So if something is, silly easy, then don't do that skill. If it's something that you need a little bit of practice on, try to get a SMART score 70. And if it's something you find challenging, try to get a SMART score over 90. Everybody tells me after 90 it's a little obnoxious because you have to get everything correct in a row, and if you make a mistake you go backwards quite a bit. So don't worry about getting it to 100. But what you'll be able to do is, I'm going to just switch my role. No, I won't. It won't matter because I have it locked. Sorry. You'll upload a screenshot, and then I will say that you completed this. So I get this list of who submitted it. And when I say grade your assignment, you should get an email notification that you're being graded. If you're not getting an email notification when you do one of these assignments with the little arrows, then let me know and I'll help you, because it's really helpful that you have. Next thing on my list, graphing calculator. I hope your school can provide one. If they can't, it's really not a bad investment for you to have. Not that it's the best technology, because it's the same technology I had when I was in high school, but because it's still what the College Board will let you use if you take AP Calculus or AP Statistics. And it's what the SAT, what you can use when you take the SAT. You can't use anything better than a TI-84. There's different versions of it now. Some of them are in color. That doesn't really make it any better or worse. But the key is they can't go online. So even though you could put an app on your phone that's the same thing as a TI-84, and you can use that for our class, you're not going to be able to take your phone in when you take the AP test or the SAT. So having a graphing calculator is still useful. I also use Desmos because that's right on your computer, and that can accomplish everything the calculator can as well. But again, you can't use that when you go take those standardized tests. Okay, so two more things I want to do. One, I want to run just through one of these lessons a little bit. I think you guys are getting this because I've started to see stuff turned in, but just as a kind of overview, get yourself a notebook and label it Advanced Math Unit 1 Lesson 2, and then you kind of go put the pages. And as you go through the pages, you can take your notes. On the first page, you will find that I link to things you might need. I have words of wisdom or connections, some little things. I hope at the beginning it's review, by the way. I give you some videos of what's going on in this lesson as kind of a big picture, so you kind of start to say, oh yeah, that's what I remember doing that. This is in my mind now. It's kind of like, these videos are like orientating you, hey, look over here, or go in your mind and find these things that you know about this. And also to show you like where you're going to go by the time you finish the lesson. And then you'll start to see, I give you, things that you want to write down, maybe not everything, but to have it in your notebook, at least so you know where to go look for it. So these 12 basic functions, maybe you have little sketches and you can have in your notebook, oh, it's Unit 1, Lesson 2, so if you ever need to reference it, you can go find it relatively quickly. And then probably the most important thing is when you answer questions. So when you're here, guys, you write this in your notebook, because here's a problem that happens sometimes. If you lose an internet connection, it's going to not keep track of the points you have for the lesson. So if you're working on this and your power goes out at school, or your internet connection goes out at school, it's going to not keep track of the points you have. If you close your notebook down because you leave one classroom to go to the other, sometimes it can lose it. If it happens once or twice, I can unlock something for you and help you out. I don't want you to lose your work and have to redo it. But I do just really recommend, writing it down so that if you were to have to go quickly back through it, you could go. And what you'll see is I'm just going to say check answer. And obviously I got one right because one was A. You can go back through and check your answer again. I didn't get any more right. Obviously I'm just guessing. And you can see that you could, although this would be, the combinations of this are not very good, you could guess and get things correct on these lessons. They're really meant for you to learn and be the guide of you learning. They're not meant to be go through as fast as you can and not learn anything. But they are a way for students to learn and be their own monitors. So that's the end of one page. Going to the next page, you'll see that these key ideas mostly are right from your textbook. So if there's part of your textbook that I absolutely want you to have, I'm going to put an image of it in here. That's why it's not, if you don't have access to a textbook, it's not going to hurt you from getting started. So you go through each page. Towards the end, there's practice that's kind of like what you would have had in it for homework. So the practices are here. There's nothing that says homework. You're just going to, what I'd really like to see on Fridays when you do the uploads of your journals is that you're showing that you've worked these problems out. So these are the problems here. Here is how I solve them in my notebook. And it also, like we said, keeps you from losing work if you lose your lesson. Last thing on the lessons is the last page. I really do look at what you write in any of these essay questions. So you need to type something in, and you need to say finish, and that's been saved to submit to me. And what I'm really looking for is if I see that if everything you wrote is correct and you have the ideas all right, you don't have any questions, I'm not going to respond to you. So you might start to think, oh, she doesn't look at it. But if you write something in here that's incorrect, I'm going to contact you on Teams, and I'm going to say, this is what you wrote, and I'll ask you questions about it so I can understand your thinking or help you make a correction. At the end of it, you don't type my name, you want to type your name. So if Max was working on this, type in Max is working on it, or I can use one of your names. So Robert completed this, and you want to say email. And now you want to say go back. And the last, see, that came to my inbox. So the first one sends what you just wrote here to my email. And sorry, I know maybe I have to put this up. And the bottom, finish. This says your session is completed. So this sends your score to the Moodle Gradebook. So you can say, I'm done. And now you'll see it goes back to the page. All right, last thing, and then I'll take questions, is everybody's always asking about grades. So I don't know how used to QSI all of you are yet, but I just wanted to pull up here quickly. When I was a student, this is what we used. We used A through F system. In Europe, they use numbers, and it was a percentage of your homework and your class participation and your test grades, and you came to a percentage. And I hope most of you know already that you don't use that in QSI at all. In QSI, we use grading rubrics, and you'll always find that on the unit planner. And that's always on the first week. And so this has the TSWs, what you're learning. It has the calendar just repeated as the whole unit. And then it has So in Unit 1, you need 2 out of 3, so it's very small, 2 out of 3 A's to have an A. All right, and it tells you what you're doing for the B level. And this is the part that is sometimes hard for students, because it's not that I just need to see you do this one time, because one time could be accident, one time could be I did it and then I forget it. So what I'm trying to do is see a progression of you using this, so that I make it very simple. If you want to sign up for my AP Statistics class next year, because I also teach that, I want to make sure you really have this. And so it's not to say you don't forget it, because there's a guy named Ebbinghaus. He showed how quickly we forget stuff if we don't use it. So forgetting does happen, but I'm pretty confident that if you saw it again, you would quickly remember, and I would have you be successful in my next class. And I will have on things that are labeled, there'll be sometimes projects that'll be A levels. There'll also be A-level test questions, so it'll be very clear to you whether the question is measuring this B-level criteria or the A-level criteria. But I really do recommend looking at this at the beginning of the unit, so you kind of know what you're trying to do. So those are all the things that were on my list. I'm coming back over. Yes, I have IXL logins, right? Hopefully. There were some errors here. I hope that YouTube fixes it. Write me on Teams and I will send it. Okay, so I can take some. It says my stream status is really poor right now. I don't know what is necessarily the problem. Sometimes it just is the internet and then it fixes itself. So I hope it will fix itself. It was healthy for a while and then we got an error at 49, 47. So it seems to be catching itself back up now. So any other questions? I can let you guys type in here. I hope that this helped you feel a little bit more comfortable, and really all year don't be shy about asking questions. You can never ask too many questions. You can never ask bad questions. I'm really here to help you, just like I would in the classroom. So let me know what you can ask questions here. If you want to ask questions in team, I'll be going. So I was using Skype before, but it seems to me that almost every QSI school now has a Microsoft Office email account for you. So as long as you have a Microsoft Office, then let's use Teams. It's just easier. I am going to try to create a team within Teams so that all the math students see each other. Is another way, but right now I don't have permission to do that, so I'm waiting for somebody in QSI land to give me permission to make my own team, and then I'll put us together as a class. I'll just wait just a few more minutes for any other questions, and then I will send you guys on your way. I appreciate you coming. Good? All right, so have a really good day, and I will catch you on Teams. Let me know how I can help you with anything.